What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 56 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. A big shout out to all of you who sent feedback to last week's episode. Based on that, I'm planning the next group episode with the same 8 guys for next week. If you have any questions you would like me to ask them for a future group session, please send me a message by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com or go to my website www.fromatod.org and click on the contact page. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Methadone Blues. Welcome back to episode 56 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. And this episode is entitled Methadone Blues. Let's talk about MAT. I'd like to start with the words from a song entitled Methadone Blues by Elizabeth Cook. And I want to encourage you to give it a listen on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you catch your tunes. Here goes the lyrics. Now don't be a doubter and don't be a cynic. All I ever need is a ride to the clinic. I've been up all night, I can tell you all the news. Methadone, methadone, methadone blues. Now I don't like the looks of my latest dealer. Starch white lab coat, socialistic healer. Totally neat and totally clean. I went up from then, I'm back down clean. Feeling so much better, clear-headed and fluid, now that the week got a little structure to it. If we need gas money, save what I don't use. Methadone, 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 blues. Good lyrics. So let's dig in now. What is MAT? Well, MAT is medication-assisted treatment. And I want to start before I really dig in by encouraging each of you to sort of set your predisposed feelings and opinions about methadone aside and keep an open mind as we go through this. I'm going to start by looking at information from SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration of the U.S. Department of Health. They define medication-assisted treatment, MAT, as the use of medications in combination with counseling and behavioral therapies to provide a whole patient approach to the treatment of substance use disorders. Medications used in MAT are approved by the Food and Drug Administration, and MAT programs are clinically driven and tailored to meet each patient's needs. MAT is primarily used for the treatment of addiction to opioids, such as heroin and prescription pain relievers that contain opiates. The prescribed medication in MAT tends to be buprenorphine, methadone, or naltrexone. For the rest of this episode, I'm just going to use the word methadone, but think any of those three. And they're used to rebalance brain chemistry in the clients, to block the euphoric effects of alcohol and opioids, to relieve psychological cravings, and to normalize bodily functions without the negative and euphoric effects of the substance that was used. These MAT medications are safe to use for months, years, or even a lifetime. But I want to remind all my listeners, be sure they are being used as part of a treatment program at a medically supervised, certified facility, not buying methadone on the street. Because if a person on methadone treatment combines the use of methadone with other substances, such as alcohol or other drugs, serious reactions can occur. When we combine methadone with alcohol or other depressants or sedatives, it can result in depressed breathing, unconsciousness, coma, and even death. So please take note of that. What's the ultimate goal of MAT? Well, it's full recovery, including the ability to live a self-directed life. How does the clinical community define full recovery? They focus on 4 key areas of life. The first is health. This involves the progression from managing to overcoming substance use disorder, as well as making healthy choices on a daily basis that enhance overall physical and emotional health. The second category is home. This involves the transition from an institutional residence like prison, rehab, or a medical facility into a safe, secure, and stable place to live, which could be a sober house, a return to a previous family house, or finding a new place to live independently. The third category of full recovery is purpose. This involves establishing stability in resources like income, transportation, and other aspects of life to be a functioning and contributing member of society. And finally, the fourth category of full recovery is community. This involves getting reintegrated to the level of developing new friendships, new relationships, and building your support systems so that they provide hope for goal setting and encouragement to achieve your new potential. How can anyone disagree with MAT when it has integrated treatment with outstanding goals like this? You know, it makes me wonder, why do I keep hearing people make negative statements about MAT? Well, here's some of the stuff I've been hearing. First, here's a quote. "You can't be in a faith-based rehab and be on any drug. It will trigger relapse in our other clients who are actually trying to get free from addiction." Here's another one. "You're just trading one drug for another, one addiction for another. Don't say you're clean and you're still on methadone." Another one. "You are blocked from God by continuing to put drugs in your body. How can you do that? Don't you know your body is a temple?" I also heard, "I work as an admin in a police station, and we just arrested 2 people for selling their methadone to buy heroin. It's just wrong. Don't tell me about methadone." Here's another one. "You are using methadone as a crutch. By using methadone, it proves how weak you are. When are you going to man up and begin making good moral choices?" And finally, "Don't tell me this is medical treatment. That proves you are still minimizing and rationalizing your continued dependence on drugs." Pshaw. Can you hear the judgment and condemnation in those words? Comments like those cause new wounds of shame, despair, rejection, and feelings of worthlessness on the people who are even contemplating getting involved in treatment. And the result is this new stigma discourages people with opioid use disorder from getting into treatment. Why would we want to continue inflicting this stigma on youth while more than 100 people are dying a day in the U.S. from opioid overdoses? I want to encourage my listeners to please reconsider your viewpoints on addiction as a moral issue and be open to all treatment options which bring hope and recovery. And with that in mind, MAT has been shown to do these things: improve patient survival rates, increase the retention rates of those who stay in treatment, minimize cravings for heroin, and alleviate withdrawal symptoms. Decrease illicit or illegal opiate use. Reduce the criminal activity among people with substance use disorders. Increase the patient's ability to gain and maintain employment. Reduce the risk of overdose. And a big one, improve the birth outcomes. Quite simply, babies are born healthier if their mother is using MAT rather than heroin. So, what do clients on methadone have to say to all of us listening? Here's some things that I hear from those clients. Methadone puts the pain of physical dependence on heroin on hold so I can deal with my addiction. This is my first step forward after decades in addiction. Can't you celebrate this with me? Methadone is stopping me from putting the needle in my arm. Methadone doesn't get me high. It stops my cravings and gives me hope that I can get the monkey off my back. And finally, if I had type 2 diabetes, you wouldn't judge me for having daily injections of my medicine. Why must you judge my use of methadone? Sure. A lot to think about in this episode. I'd like to close by listening again to the words from Methadone Blues by Elizabeth Cook. Now, don't be a doubter and don't be a cynic. All I ever need is a ride to the clinic. I've been up all night. I can tell you the news. Methadone, methadone, methadone blues. Now, I don't like the looks of my latest dealer. Starch white lab coat, socialistic healer. Totally clean and totally neat. I went up from then, I'm back down clean. Feeling so much better, clear-headed and fluid, now that the week got a little structure to it. If we need gas money, save what I don't use. Methadone, 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 blues. Are you ready to help people who are trying to get a little structure into their week and into their life? Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy these podcasts, help us bring the message of hope by sharing the link with your friends and contacts around the world. If you'd like to support our work with people caught in the snare of addiction, homelessness, or incarceration, click on the support link in this episode's description. Your donation of any amount could change a life. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay strong.